this is Kami Spy bringing you the first episode of the Pravda. This episode is people getting things stuck in their ass. A rather popular occurrence if you Google it. There's doctors talking about it and people actually requesting help in regards to it, who probably go to the doctors and then the doctors write the stories. Anyways, so, yeah, intro song was Katyusha from Girls and Panzers, not unique to the series, however, I did choose that rendition. Go ahead and check out the anime itself, it's pretty good. And this episode was sponsored by absolutely nobody because no one gives a crap about me. Now, let's get right into this. So first up, I have a Yahoo Answers that is kind of funny. So, help, Sharpie stuck in my pooper. I was feeling a little adventurous in the shower earlier, so I ran out of the shower to get a Sharpie for my computer desk. I wanted to know what it felt like to have something protruding in my anal cavity. Long story short, I got carried away, and now there's a Sharpie inside me. More so than I was hoping for. Is there any way to get this out? I tried pooping it out, and it's stuck up there and won't bulge. Basically, right, at a certain point, right, you have these muscles in your, asshole, which, the sphincter, right, and anyways, it will, it's so strong, it will literally suck things up, right, so, that's why, like, a lot of sex toys have, like, flared bases and that sort of thing, so when you put something like a Sharpie up there, once you get to a certain point, it will suck it up and you can't get it back down, which is where people go to the hospital. What's funny about this is not only the fact that they did it, but the answers. Best answer. Get a piece of paper and use a Sharpie to write a letter to someone who cares. The poor Sharpie will never be the same. No, go to the doctor. Oh... Yeah, no. Grow brain cells, invent a time machine, and go back. Don't go be stupid. Go to the ER or go to McDonald's and eat a bunch of burgers and wait for the feces to push it out. So the problem with this, in my opinion, right, is so the problem with like putting things like a Sharpie in your ass is not only the fact that it's not only dangerous, right, because it can get stuck up there, but also I'd hope, right, that like if I went to buy an actual sex toy, it would be sterile, considering the intended usage, whereas a Sharpie is probably not held up to the same production standards as something like a sex toy that's meant to be in use, so it might have viruses on it or whatever that normally wouldn't be dangerous or that dangerous if you were to, touch it with your hand, but when you put it inside of yourself, it could potentially cause more of a risk. And moreover, if you go to the store and buy a Sharpie, they're generally in like little cups or something like that, at least my experience with them is. So you have a bunch of Sharpies and they're in little cups and you take them out individually so other people could have touched them. So if you have an unclean Sharpie and it goes into your self, that you run the risk of an infection, and then when it gets stuck up there again, you run the risk of infection, you can't get it out, and so that can cause problems that way. And Sharpies might not necessarily be smooth enough to be up there. Again, anal cavity tissue is, I don't know for certain, but I'd say it's safe to assume it's more tender than, say, your skin. So potentially rough edges of the Sharpie will run up against it and might cut it. So it's kind of that thing. This all kind of started, a lot of this stuff, from what I've gathered, started from a subreddit, butt Sharpies, or Sharpies in your butt, or something like that. Butt Sharpies, it's butt Sharpies. So it's a subreddit full of pictures of people putting Sharpies in their butt, mostly women, yeah, so looking through the pictures, one, they're disgusting, but two, what you can really see is that they don't go in all the way. You can still see the caps, which is kind of where I think a lot of people mess up, right? They put the Sharpies all the way up there, and what ends up happening is the Sharpie gets stuck. eventually it reaches the sphincter and loop, and yeah, that's my sound effect, which is slightly creepy, but you get the general gist. It gets up there and it gets stuck. So, yeah. So some more stories. This one from ultimateguitar.com. Weird place to put something like this, but it's one of the first things that came up, and I read it earlier, and it was kind of funny. So this is from November 2006. The person is banned and is described as 10 IQ. Oh, wait, no, that's when they joined. This is actually from 2007. Not much of a difference, over a decade ago. So, yeah. Anyways, the post is titled, "So There's a Sharpie in My Ass." Yeah, I need some help. First thing, poop. Just poop it out. Well, it hurts and I can reach it and pull it, but out almost. But the cap will come off because it's pretty loose. You should have put it in the other way. So the person put it in cap first. Dude, squat and try and force it out like you would a log. Okay, so this is how they said it got up there, right? Probably because they didn't want to admit that they were trying a little something with a Sharpie instead of their finger or something like that. So that's probably how I got it there in the first place. Okay, no. Well, you see, my friend superglued the Sharpie pointing up on a seat and left it there. So when I was in just my boxers and t-shirt, I sat down and it went right up. And not right as in RIGHT, but RITE. So they're claiming that they sat down in boxers, and the Sharpie, with absolutely no lubrication or anything like that, managed to tear through his boxers and was perfectly in line with his butthole. So much, in fact, that it didn't just snap off, but instead slid right up there. Anyways, this kind of makes me think that this is like a little kid, or not little kid, like teenager, right? And I like imagining the guy going to his parents and being like, "Mom, Dad, could you take me to the hospital?" And he's like, and his parents are like, "Oh, why, honey?" And he's like, "Oh, well, a Sharpie went up my butthole." And so he has to explain to them why he had a Sharpie up his ass. Just kind of funny. Okay. Alright, there's a highlighter stuck in my ass. I have it stuck, and I mean stuck. This is serious because it's really starting to hurt. It's stuck above the muscles that relax and contort when you're shitting. The cap came off, and there's no ink inside. I really don't want to go to the hospital. It's not an easy there's not an easy excuse for that. How the fuck do I get it out? I tried with my fingers, a needle, nose, pliers to get it out. I've also tried pushing it out like a piece of shit. Should I just wait for my body to push it out for me? Why was the highlighter in your ass? He just put it in there. All the cool kids are doing it these days. Okay. Sadly, being the stupid teen I am, I took advice that stimulating the ass was good. It was. I didn't realize how hard it would be to get it out if it got stuck. Okay. So, anyways, he's going on about how it's hurting more and more. It's kind of funny, really. So this is from when? 2010. And he joined June of 2010, and this was posted June of 2010. So somebody just went onto a bodybuilding forum, and decided to complain about the Sharpie in his ass on there. So it's weird. But anyways, these are kind of interesting, though. I think it's kind of funny, because, it's kind of common sense not to put things in every cavity you have, which is kind of the moral of the story here, right? Don't take an object, especially one that you're not entirely certain that you can get out, something that's probably not entirely sterile, put it in areas where it's not designed to go, because you're just kind of asking for issues there. That's like saying, oh god, what, I don't even have an analogy for that. It's just kind of common sense not to take something that's not designed to do what you're trying to do and put it somewhere where things aren't even supposed to go to begin with, right? But the results are funny, right? Okay, please help. I'm a 14-year-old boy, and he stuck a Sharpie up my butt. Let me give you the story. All my friends said putting something in your butt made fapping orgasms better, so I tried it. Stuck maybe 2.5 inches in my butt, maybe a little deeper. Please help. I'm really scared. His profile picture is a kid with a boner, like a cartoon, not actual nudity, but yeah. That's a sign you're gay now. There's no cure. I'm sorry. You shouldn't have used a permanent marker if you didn't want it feeling, if you didn't want the feeling lasting forever. Go to the butt doctor. He will listen to your butt with the stethoscope, inject your butt with medicine, and give pills for your butt that you have to put in your butt. Just think of how good it would feel if a big, veiny, warming, pulsing 7-inch penis was up there. Okay. And the next person said, dude, he's 14. And then the next, okay, call your mother. 14-year-olds aren't allowed to get penis. Wait, what? Okay. Sharpies cure rear end hymens. At least you made sure all the stuff that you shoved up your rear end was sterile. That's good thinking. So apparently he did. Oh wait, was that sarcastic? Okay, it went really easy. It went in really easy, and you didn't use lube. Everything was pretty sterile, and it didn't jam it into the sides. Okay, so that's great. I kind of want to comment on the didn't use lube part. So again, that's asking for even more issues. I'm not a medical professional, and I don't have experience in this. However, I do have my doctorates from Wikipedia. So what I can tell you, right, is that, and this is from Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt, according to everybody's teacher ever, but according to Wikipedia, right, that sort of stuff will tear your anal tissue, especially on the outside. You need lubrication for it, because otherwise it will hit something and it won't slide up against it, it will stick to it, and then when you try and pull it away or something like that, it will tear. And that will ultimately cause an infection, and so it's kind of coming it's kind of getting even worse with this, right? So when you take something that's not designed to be up there and potentially has sharp edges and potentially isn't sterile, and then you use it without lubrication or sterilizing it, you ultimately are asking for trouble, because then it will get sucked up there, it will get stuck there, it will get stuck there, and then what will happen is it will ultimately get infected, and then it will cause even more issues, because it might be blocking anal passages. If it slides down and your muscles contract or something, it could damage the muscles, that sort of thing. And so as you think about this more and more, even without medical information, it becomes more and more of a common sense issue, and not the sort of, oh, I didn't know, and this is something that a professional needs to tell me issue. This shouldn't be something that you spend a day in health class on. It should be just common sense. Don't stick things in your body cavities that don't belong there. So, Things I Fished Out of People's Butts by Dr. Mona Moore on vice. Bedposts, doorknobs, mayonnaise jars, candles, a small pistol, a grocery and newspaper combo, 12-inch long and 8-inch long wide salami, tennis balls, an aluminum tube, axe handles, soldering irons, and a pigtail, to name a few. So, again, this is like a doctor going to the side and laughing about, the sort of things that she's done to help people recover from this stuff. And it kind of goes to show you the extent of this. It's not just, Sharpies and highlighters that little kids are doing. It's grown men and women putting large things that they have access to, obviously, because I'm not sure too many 14-year-olds have access to a small pistol, putting them in their butts. And so it kind of makes you wonder what the hell is happening to society, and moreover, what's influencing this. And, it's kind of an internet issue, I think, personally, especially with things like that subreddit we mentioned before, butt Sharpies. When you have things on there that are full of pictures and stories of people successfully accomplishing something like this, it only encourages somebody who might not have the means to do it safely, like do actual anal masturbation safely, to try these alternative methods. And it's kind of like a vaccine sort of thing. The people who say, oh, no vaccines are bad, right? Even though there's evidence to show that they are good in contrasting their statements, right? Basically what's happening is you have people trying to use these alternative means that instead of the actual tried and true methods, because they might not have access to the normal stuff, or they might not believe in it. I don't think people don't believe in sex toys. I think they just don't want to buy them. They are too embarrassed to do so, or whatever. So the moral of the story is really, don't stick things in your ass. And if you absolutely have to, which I'd highly go against, make sure those things are actually safe to put up there, designed to be put up there. Make sure you do your research, right? Even if it's just a little bit of Wikipedia, because honestly, I don't see how using lube on something that's going in your butt will hurt you. So do your research on that and make sure you're taking every precaution necessary to stay safe in doing this, because people can actually get hurt doing this, or at the very least extremely embarrassed and feel temporary, probably very intense pain as your ass is trying to figure out why there is some very long cylinder up there. It's kind of, again, that whole, make sure you're doing everything safe, or just not doing it at all. So, it's kind of like, there's a time and a place for everything, right? That sort of thing. So, legally, you have to wait till you're 21 to drink alcohol, and that precaution is in place because, at a certain point, earlier in your life, it can affect your brain development, it can impair your, actual ability to do stuff. You might not do it responsibly because you're not a fully grown adult. Even 21-year-olds and up can have troubles dealing with it. So when you get younger, right, it becomes more and more of a problem. So it's the same sort of idea with this sex-related stuff. Don't do it until you're old enough to have access to the proper means to do it. Sex toys, for example, don't do stuff that would otherwise be performed with a sex toy if you don't have access to a sex toy, because in most of those scenarios you're either too young to have a sex toy or choosing not to, and you're ultimately going to suffer for your decision. So again, moral of the story, don't put things in your ass, but it makes for a good laugh for those of us who aren't suffering. So yeah, I have no idea how to close out a podcast, like end it, so I'll just say this. Thank you everybody who is watching, for watching, more like listening because it's a podcast, but you get the general idea. Thank you for doing so. Your support is very much appreciated, and I do hope to see you again, I hope that you see my videos again. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day. Like and subscribe if you want to. I am not going to beg for them because I'm not a like and subscribe whore. Yeah. And so we are.